Regardless of which way you lean in terms of politics, we can all just about picture or think about political leaders that have inspired us in the past. And since running for office is completely a sales job in itself, where a politician is selling their ideas and selling themselves to an audience of voters, what we can do is use that as an example of how someone sells something. And even though running for office and politics are extremely complicated, we can use this example to simplify the concept of communicating and selling ideas. And by looking at that in a very simplified way, that can help us to have more clarity in how we see our own world and what we need to do to be a better salesperson. Now, when a politician is campaigning and running for office, they are going to do a lot of talking. They're going to give speeches, interviews, compete in debates, talk to supporters, talk to donors. And they are not just going out there and improvising and thinking of what best to say in all of those different moments. What they use or do instead is create a message that includes all the different things that they should be communicating. This is who I am and what I believe in. This is what I will do if I'm fortunate enough to get the job. This is what I will improve. These are the problems I will fix. And they are always aware of who they are talking to in terms of the audience. When the audience changes, they tailor their message and what they talk about. And it's elements like that that make up the campaign message. And with the message in place, it's very easy to not only always know what to say in all of the different ways you're communicating with people, but to also repeat and reinforce the key and important things about you and what you have to offer. And not only is this message used as the foundation for what to say when talking with people, but these are the same points that are used for marketing efforts such as ads and written communications and also marketing materials. Now we can actually use this breakdown right here to look at a few examples. And you probably could think of a politician that you liked and supported and wanted to win that was not successful. And maybe they had good ideas and looked great on paper, but they just did not connect and build interest and create a following. Some of those candidates could be in the category of only focusing on who they are and what they'll do. Maybe they talk a lot about policies, but they don't connect what those policies mean to the people they're communicating with. To be the motivational and inspirational candidate and create that following and that excitement and that support, you have to not only say what you'll do, but explain how that will improve the people you're talking to. Actually, a good example to use to look at these different areas is Donald Trump. And I'm not using this example to endorse Donald Trump or attack Donald Trump. But Donald Trump is very good at messaging. And his messaging is actually very simple too, which makes it very good for demonstration purposes. If we go through each of these areas for Donald Trump, looking back more specifically at the 2016 presidential campaign, I'm a successful businessman. I am not a politician. I'm very rich. I cannot be bought. I will build a wall and Mexico will pay for it. I will make America great again. There are illegal immigrants coming into our country, bringing disease and crime. And there are a lot of examples of Donald Trump tailoring his message for the target audience. In his effort to communicate with voters that are very religious, he would focus on what he would do in the area of pro-life and nominating pro-life Supreme Court justices. And when he talked to blue-collar and union workers, he would focus on bringing jobs back to America and the problem of jobs going overseas. So by tailoring his message to those different audiences, he was able to communicate what those people wanted to hear and what those people were thinking, make them feel better and more excited. When you tailor what you talk about to what the audience you're communicating to cares about and the problems that they're worried about, it makes them feel like you understand them and that they are being heard. We as humans have a deep need to be understood. Take a second and think about a time where you watched something on TV or saw a movie or saw something that was funny and you liked it so much that you wanted to tell someone else about it, someone that didn't see that exact same thing. And you try to explain it to them, but they're not getting it. They don't understand why it's so funny or why it's so good. Think about how you might have felt in that situation. You might have felt frustrated because you're trying to explain something and they're not understanding. They're not understanding how good it is or how funny it was. They're not understanding you and you feel frustrated. Now compare that exact same scenario where you go to tell someone about it and they already saw it. They know what you're talking about. They know how good it is. They know how funny it was. They understand you. Think about how you feel in that situation. You feel good. You feel understood. And that's how you feel when a politician talks about the things you care about, the things you want improved, and the problems that you're worried about. And this helps a politician to create a connection with their audience. Think about the connection Donald Trump has created with his followers. And when you talk about improvements and problems, you're creating a picture of a future state. You're actually creating two different pictures. When you talk about the improvements that you can help someone to see, you're creating a positive future state. When you talk about the problems that exist or could happen and will continue to happen if you're not selected or your product is not purchased, you create a second picture of a future state, one that is negative and one that should motivate someone to try to avoid. And when a politician does all these things, it creates motivation and passion. Passion to follow them and support them, and motivation to get out and vote for them and do what you can to get them elected and put into the position they're running for. Now, if you agree that some of those concepts could help someone to be a more inspiring politician, we can apply those same concepts to selling. The candidate is actually the product that's being sold. The policies are actually the functionality of the product. The policies are what the candidate will do. The functionality is what the product or the service does. The improvements that the candidate will deliver to the people's lives are similar to the benefits that the product will deliver to the prospect or the customer. The problems that the voters are feeling and worried about and concerned with are similar to the pain points that the prospect might be feeling, experiencing, or worried about. And in the same way that a politician should factor in the audience that he or she is communicating with in terms of what points to emphasize, a salesperson should do the same thing by being more aware of the target audience that he or she is communicating with. If you sell B2B, you could likely sell your product or service to different departments of the organization. Those different departments, they have different needs, different interests, different pain points. And if you sell to different levels of the organization, the management at the top and at the VP and C level care about different things than the frontline managers. And if you sell to different industries, those different industries have different interests, different pain points, and in many cases, different terminology. And by knowing who you're talking to and tailoring what you say, you could get to the next level and separate yourself from the competition. And similar to how we talked about the average politician that struggles to build up a following of supporters, you have salespeople that are similar in that they don't use a full and robust sales message. They focus primarily on this is what I sell and this is what it does. And these are product selling, product pushing salespeople. And these salespeople are the ones that struggle to build connections with prospects, build relationships, rapport, and interest in what they sell. And what you could do instead is use a more complete sales message similar to the inspiring politician that communicates more clearly not just what your product will do in terms of functionality and in terms of policies, but what does that mean for the audience that you're communicating with in terms of how will it improve things for them? What problems will it make go away? And you can use these different areas to create a message similar to a political message for a politician that includes all of those different talking points. And then that becomes the foundation that you use to have clarity around what to say and what to communicate when you're talking with prospects, sending emails, leaving voicemails, delivering presentations, creating proposals. You can also use the sales message for marketing communications as well in terms of ads, website, brochures. Not only will this make it easier for you to figure out what best to say in all of the different situations that you find yourself in, but this will help you to repeat the same talking points again and again and reinforce the things you want to communicate. And it's this type of approach that helps you to communicate better, make the prospects feel like you understand them, and build interest and motivation on the prospect side for the products or services that you sell. Now, if you want to create a sales message for the product or service that you sell, we actually have a step-by-step process that makes it easy to create your sales message. And here's an example of what I came up with going through our own process for my own product of SalesScripter. And I'm not going to explain how to go through this process in this video because I've done that in another video, and I'll include a link in the description of the video that will take you through this process step by step. But when you go through this process, each of those steps creates sets of bullet points. And we view each of those sets of bullet points as being building blocks. And you can mix and match those blocks to create a lot of different documents, such as your cold call script, appointment script, email campaigns, voicemail messages, objection responses, and more. That process of creating a sales message to create building blocks and then use those to create documents is actually how our software of SalesScripter works. In SalesScripter, there's an area here called the Sales Message Builder. This will actually take you through our step-by-step process to create your sales message. And then once you have your sales message in the software then creates your building blocks and mixes and matches those building blocks to give you a whole library here of sales scripts, emails, voicemails, questions, and marketing documents and more. For example, here's a cold call script value intro. And you can see here are all those building blocks on the left side, value points, reason for the call is, and then here are benefits, pain questions, current state questions, pain points. And we can also use your building blocks to create objection responses. Over here are objections and objection responses. I'm not interested. 3 different responses here using 3 different building blocks, pain questions, current state questions, pain points. So if you're looking for a tool to help you to create your sales message and generate a lot of your scripts and emails and documents, check out a demo of our product of SalesScripter. And that is pretty much it. If you want more information, the best place to go is salesscripter.com. Thanks for being here. Hope this was helpful, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.